This call is now being recorded.
Ritika, is my video visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to day 9 of your environmental studies period. I am Esmeralda ma'am and I'll be taking the topic biodiversity. Good afternoon everyone again, those who are joining right now. You can give me some response, students, as to yes, no,
Afternoon,
something.
ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. So shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So first I would like you to know what is biodiversity. So bio means life. Now when we see around us, you must have learned about ecosystem. In ecosystem, there is a living and the non-living components. So the living components make up the bio or the life. So that can be anything. It can be the plants, animals, the marine animals, marine plants, even the insects and microorganisms are all coming under the living components which make up the life of on earth. And if you see, it is having so much of diversity. That means there are so many varieties. As you must have heard of the evolution on earth, evolution of life on earth, we knew that there was some puddle of water or some gases through which the life gases like carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, these all gave rise to life on earth. And that is how the life has come into existence. And from there, small organic molecules developed. And then slowly, you had the protists and eukaryotes, then the bacteria, and larger like living beings like the fish, frogs, all these came up, and slowly the life evolved. And as the life evolved, the environment also changed around them. And because of that, they had to adapt themselves. And to adapt themselves, they had to bring about some changes in their physical features or in their internal anatomy. So because of that, a variety of species have evolved. If you look at a dog, you will have a variety, different varieties of dogs. Like you have Pomeranians, you have Alsatians, you have the that Hutch movie, that video is that one, and so many types of dogs, varieties of dogs you will have. Yeah. So that is how the diversity, because of evolution, diversity has evolved or has set in into the environment. Now, as you have understood now what is bio and what is the meaning of biodiversity. So what are the types of biodiversity? The first type is genetic diversity. Now, when we see at ourselves, you look at your friends, you look at your neighbors around you, we all are human beings. But when we look at each other, we look very different because our genetics are different. The mixing and matching of genes that come from our parents makes us different from even our siblings and even our parents. So that is because of the genetic variations that are taking place or the change in the DNA that is taking place, and because of that we are different from the others around us. Same way it is applicable to the plants also and to the animals also. If you see again the same example of dogs and cats, if you take the simplest ones, you have so many varieties of cats. Cats look different, each variety. Then dogs also, they have so many, you have so many species of dogs. So that is because of the genetic differences that the diversity has set in. Yes, a Persian cat also. Then you have species diversity. Now species diversity refers to variety of species in a given area. Like you have a jungle only, you take example. In the jungle, you have a variety of different animals. You have the deer, you can see in the picture, can have a deer, you can have birds, variety of birds, you can have a frog. In the same place, you can have a tiger and a lion. And the plants also can be different. You can have mushrooms, you can have grass, you can have big trees, small trees, herbs, shrubs, so many things in one space in the given area. So there is a diversity in the species in that particular area. If you look at a garden, in your garden at home, you will again have a variety of animals. Sorry, not animals, plants. Animals can also be there, like you can have snails, you can have frogs, you can have different bees and bugs and birds that are coming. So that can also be called, the garden also can be called as a place where you will find diversity in species. The third type of biodiversity is the ecosystem diversity. Like you have the variety of habitats. You have a forest, it is a different type of ecosystem where you have plants, you have animals, you have grass, and then that ecosystem will be interacting with the non-living things like air and water and the climatic conditions of that particular forest. Then you have ecosystems, like if you go to the desert, a desert is a very different ecosystem where you can find sand and the plants like cactus and all, which are, you can say, adjusting or adapting to the dry arid environment. Then you have the cities. In cities, if you see, we have a particular ecosystem. We have made a human man-made ecosystem where you have so many buildings and you have trees and you have people and animals and plants. So that is a type of ecosystem again. Our communities, you can call. So on Earth, there are so many different types of ecosystems and they also differ. If you go from different parts of India only, if you check, you will see Kashmir and the Himalayas, the northern portion has a very different ecosystem, and the southern area of India has a very different ecosystem. If you go out of India, then again the ecosystem, the countries, different countries have different ecosystem, different environment, different climates. So again, the diversity in ecosystem can be observed. Now, why is the ecosystem important? What is the value of the biodiversity? What can we get from the biodiversity? So let's see one by one. First, you have consumptive value, then you have productive value, social value, ethical value, aesthetic value, and option value. So we'll see one by one. First, we'll deal with consumptive value. Now, in consumptive value, you can directly look at the pictures and you can tell me that consumptive value means what are we using from the environment around us, how we are utilizing the biodiversity. You can see from the environment we are getting wood, we are getting food, we are getting medicinal plants, and from the marine animals we are getting the aquatic plants which we can consume like prawns and fish and mollusks. All these are one of the things that we are getting from the uh, living organisms or the environment around us. Anything that you can add, if you would like to add? Yes, students? Then the next type is the productive value. Now, when we talk about productive value, it is where we already have these around us. Already we have the plants, we have the animals, but if we take a cow, suppose a farmer has a cow, but that cow is not able to give enough milk, so the farmer will be at a loss. So now what the biotechnologists have done is that they have made developed breeds. They have developed interbreeding techniques, and they have made animals which can produce more milk. So that way the production of milk has increased. Same thing can be done with the plants, crop varieties, where the tomatoes, if you see, if you go to the market, you will see that usually your mother likes to buy the Gaurani tomatoes because those are the wild tomatoes and they are more tasty and more nutritious. But then the shelf life of this tomatoes is very low. It can be kept for a very few days and they're very sour. So sometimes these properties of the tomato are not very, you can see, appealing to us. So what has been done is that varieties have been developed which can be kept for a longer time and which are not so sour, which can be used for salads. And sometimes these tomatoes can be used for salad decoration. So that way different varieties have been developed, or even the seedless varieties can also be developed. So that is why when we say about productive value, means whatever is existing that has been improved, usually by genetic engineering, and that way the production of that variety can be increased. And sometimes, if you must have heard that there are animals, usually the livestock, which is getting sick very soon. Now we must have heard of that bird flu. So there, what is happening? That these animals are getting sick and they are transmitting the disease. So we don't want these type of animals, and that is causing a loss to the economy. So the animals which can resist diseases, these have to be developed. So using the biodiversity, it can be done. Means two breeds can be made to interbreed and a better variety can be developed, which has the properties from the good properties of both the animals. Then the next important thing about biodiversity is the social value. Now in the first picture, if you see, these are the tribal people who are thriving only on the forest goods that are coming from the forest. So they know that they have to keep the forest as it is. They have to preserve the forest because their livelihood, their future, everything depends on the forest. So whenever they require anything, they do it in such a way that they are not destroying the forest or they are not destroying the environment. So these are the traditional societies which are preserving the biodiversity. But if you come to urban India and urban cities, you will see like there are so many things made. You can see here the Palm Beach, Palm Island. It looks so beautiful.
It's called Palm Jumeirah. It's in
Yes,
Dubai.
yes. So it is looking so beautiful, but at the same time, what is happening is that the ecosystem of the sea, and if you look at this one where the skyscrapers and the subways and all these are made, these are all the bridges and all are made, these are all destroying the ecosystem. So mostly where there is people are wanting more luxury, okay, the society where more luxury is required, those are the places where you will see that the ecosystem is being destroyed more. So that is why biodiversity has to be preserved. Then the next importance of biodiversity is ethical and moral value. From biodiversity conservation, we have to learn that all living beings are important, that all living beings have, whether it is an animal or a bird or an insect or a plant, even the smallest herb, it has the right to exist on earth. So that should be instilled in our mind. We should instill that value in our mind that we don't have to hurt anything. So there are some tribal people usually where they have made these small you can say sacred groves or deuries, or small, you can say type of temple type under the tree where they go and worship. And if you worship in a place, then other people don't try to destroy that place. So that way, that much area is saved. You can see in one of the pictures that they have put idols there. So looking at the idols, people will think that it is an important place, nothing should be done to it, so it will be safe. So this way we can preserve the environment or preserve the biodiversity of that particular area. Next is importance is the aesthetic value. Now, if you go to beautiful places, okay, you are all the time in your house doing the same routine and going to college, coming back, studying, all these make it a very boring routine. And when you get the holidays, you feel like, we should go for a vacation. And when we go for a vacation, we select a place which is a beautiful place, scenic place, so that, or we uh, plan out such activities which will help us to experience good the nature around us, like bird watching, or some can go for underwater snorkeling and all. So that adds to our experiences. So we should be able to appreciate nature. So that is the aesthetic value that we have to imbibe in us because of the biodiversity. And that is why we have to conserve biodiversity. And the next important aspect of biodiversity is the option value. Why we have to preserve biodiversity is for the option value. Now, what is the meaning of that? Now, let me give you this example, which is there in the picture. At first, when we see, there was only kale. Okay, the kale is the most primitive type of plant. But as it evolved, there were many varieties developed from it, like this Chinese broccoli, then cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels, kohlrabi, broccoli again, this one, the green one that we have. All these are the different varieties that have been developed from kale. But ultimately, then what will happen? That once the varieties keep on developing, the original one is gone. If we destroy kale, the original one is gone. So if you want to develop a new variety, how will we develop it? So for that, we'll require the kale again. So that is why we have to maintain the original ones, so that we can in future we can develop something more from it and improve the varieties. Like we have fish also. Fish seeds are always found in the river or in the sea. So once they get mixed up, what will happen when we try to breed them? We'll have all not the original ones, but we'll have all hybrid ones, and the intermixing will take place. So when this intermixing takes place, it can happen that the not so good properties of two different fishes are come in one, but we want good properties, good characteristics. So for that, we need the original one. So that is why we have to think of the future and preserve what is present now. So now, after hearing all this, but still there are so many things that are being done where the biodiversity is being threatened. Like you have the animal and man conflict. People, they want to build factories and industries and so many things. So the forests are being depleted. There, the animals and man, they are having a conflict. Then people, for their greed, they are going and poaching animals. And there is this chandan trees also being cut and used. So that is also being banned. But still people go and cut the chandan trees. Same thing is happening with animals. The poaching is done, in China, the tiger bones and teeth and all those things are used for improving the body. So that is why they poach animals, poach the tigers, and then they sell it. That is all illegal, but still they are being done. So that is threatening the biodiversity. Then when these plants, trees are being cut for, you can say, building industries or building factories or building houses and all, then the animals which are living in that area, they are losing their habitat. Then next is the pollution. Because of pollution, like here pollution can be of any type. It can be in water, it can be on land, it can be in air. Some years back, where the places like Pachmadi and all, which are very clean, the air is very clean, the lichens were found. And now the environment has become so dirty, the air has become so dirty that you cannot find lichens there. And same in the plant, in the water also, in the seas, when the ships are moving, ships are sailing, sometimes they spill oil. So because of that, the marine animals are getting, you can say the water gets polluted and the marine animals are getting affected by it. So that way the biodiversity is again getting threatened. Then now you must have heard of the metro that is coming up in Nagpur. That has already come up and still more development is being made. You'll have heard of the recent news, recent things
Yes.
that are going on about that one. So that also is being, but people are trying to avoid cutting that one so that the biodiversity is not threatened. Then there are natural calamities also like forest fires, because in summertime it becomes very hot and by chance the forest catches, the grass catches fire because of the heat. So that also has to be, that is not actually man-made, but that also threatens biodiversity. But there are some miscreants who purposely go and light fire and make forest fires so that they get a chance to say that it was a natural process and now we can use this area to build a factory, or they want to cultivate that area. So that way they take a chance and put it on forest fires, put the blame on forest fires as a natural calamity. Then these are the some examples of endangered animals. Like you have the Asiatic lion, red panda, black buck. What are endangered animals, students? You all know that?
Animals which are on brink of extinction.
They're on the brink of extinction.
Verge of extinction.
Yes. So there are some more examples here. In India, you'll find the ghadial, then the lion-tailed macaw, then the great Indian bustard. This bustard one is you have at the square. When you go down Seminary Hills, this copper structure or statue of this great Indian bustard has been put up there. Sometimes if you go that side, you should see it because it is endemic to Nagpur. It is an endemic species of Nagpur. That means you will find it in Nagpur.
Ma'am, wild parrots like macaw are also endangered.
Yes. So now when the endangered species, how many endangered species are there and which animals are on the verge of extinction or which have already become extinct, all those documents are kept or recorded in this red data book. It has been maintained. It is being maintained by IUC, that is International Union for Conservation of Nature. That is a committee that is documenting and keeping track of all the endangered species. And if you want any information, you can go through this list and see which are those animals. It can be plants also, it can be animals also. So now there are various methods by which conservation of biodiversity can be done. You have two ways. One is in situ and the other one is ex situ. Now in situ means it is within the natural habitat, means wherever the animal is present or wherever the plant is present, around that only they will make a they will mark it as a protected area. So that animal is, there is no need to shift the animal or the plants from there. And in that environment only, according to the weather and climate, they will remain there and they will be safe there. So in situ is within the natural habitat. Students, if you all want, you all can Just jot down these notes so that if you all have it in the exams, in short, you can see this and you can elaborate it then afterwards, later in your words. So these protected areas are the national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biospheres. And in ex situ, that is outside the natural habitat. So from there, the animals or the plants are shifted to a place where they can be kept and looked after. So those are zoological parks, botanical gardens, cryopreservation, sperm bank, gene bank. So you have this Gorewada, isn't it? You have heard of Gorewada, this zoo that is coming up here.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that is a
Yes,
type of ex situ method for conservation. And cryopreservation, sperm bank, gene bank, all these are where the egg or the sperm are frozen and kept. Okay, the actual animal is not kept there, or actual plant is not kept there, but the egg or the seeds, in case of plants, seeds are preserved and kept. Okay, or the embryos are preserved and kept. So that way, whenever needed, it can be used, the DNA can be used, and mostly for plants it is easy, but for animals it is a little difficult to do all these. But these types of methods are also being developed. So now let's try this. Can y'all guess this endemic species? Endemic species means which is found in the particular area. Like now in Nagpur, you'll find this. So which type of plant is this? Can you guess?
Bamboo.
Yes. Who was this who answered it?
Ayush Kumar, BCA second year.
Okay, very good. It is a bamboo tree. So there are some endemic species, examples which are given here. The name is bamboo sodei, and it is used for construction, making baskets, farm implements, matting, and paper. Now guess the next one. Which one is this tree? Do you all come to college? Which one? Do you all come to college, students?
Sal tree.
Sal tree, you are saying?
Yes.
Sal means, in English, it is teak.
Ik.
Yes. So this scientific name for teak is Tectona grandis, and usually it is used for making furniture. Then guess this one.
Emily, ma'am.
Y'all are very clever. I know y'all can guess everything so soon. Yes, this is tamarind.
I told.
The scientific name is Tamarind indicus, and it is a very good source of vitamin C, and we are adding it in the food for the sour flavor. And the wood can be used for timber. That means for building and for construction and for making furniture. Now this one. Guess this one.
Parrot.
Forest
Which
fire.
one? Forest fires. Yes. This is forest fire. This is also in our college. You must have seen this in front of the building. This is the flame of the forest. The scientific name is Bootia monosperma.
Parrot
And
is there.
Pardon? And again, the uses are timber, resin, dye, biodegradable plates. Now, how you know why it is being used as a dye?
Because it has a nice color.
Yes, in holy
It
time,
has
during
vibrant.
Holi, you can soak these flowers and you get that beautiful orange color, which is becoming a natural dye. And instead of those artificial colors, you can use this flowers as a color for during Holi. And it is eco-friendly also. Then this one, guess this one.
Bear.
Yes, it is bear. All these plants are there in the college. So I have taken these examples. So you can guess it very easily.
Yes, ma'am.
So the scientific name is Ziziphus mauritiana, or the common name is Indian jujube. And it is having medicinal uses as well as culinary means you are eating it like that boiled bear and all. So I hope students you all liked today's session and you learned.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.